Hello, well, welcome back to the follow-up of the conference. Okay, take it easy. Well, hello, I am Pablo Tesone. Here we are going to talk a little about the graphic layer, the graphic libraries that we are pushing and proposing for the future of Faro, and we expect for the future of your applications. This is the result of a great collaboration between the Faro Consortium, Thales, and the University de Bretagne Occidental. And it's really nice to show this result because it shows how we can interact many partners with the consortium to power really the stuff and power the tools that we need for building up the future. In this presentation, I have been doing it with Martín Díaz. He's another Faro Consortium engineer. He's working now in Chile. He's paid, again, by the collaboration that we are having with Thales and the Faro Consortium. That is really nice. And we are just asked for the presentation, but there is a lot of development and a lot of effort behind this, from historical contributions to contributions that are done this week. Well, the first question that we need to answer is, what is Bloc? I am sure that most of the people that has been here since a long time have seen Bloc, that we are talking about Bloc since the beginning of time. Actually, we are talking about Bloc since I entered the community, so it's a long time already. But now we are getting to a maturity level that we can start using it for real. You have seen some of the results in the presentation of Domenico today. And we are going to present a little more. Today, this talk will not be especially on Bloc, but just a little reminder, Bloc is our low-level UI infrastructure. It's our framework to produce graphical results, to present information, to present our nice presentations, our nice visualization, or our UI. It's what we can see as a direct replacement of Morphic. And it has a lot of the good ideas of Morphic, and we keep it all of them because they are really nice. We have different concepts, and it's all object-oriented and really nice to use. It is based on, we are using a lot of third-party libraries for it. Why? Because that gives you, or give us also, a lot of flexibility and a lot of stability and a lot of power. Basically, we are using SDL for all the handling of windows and events and all the interaction with the user. And we are using Cairo to render all the graphics, all the elements that we want to render. This decision is not something that we take lightly. SDL and Cairo are both very mature. They have a lot, a really nice community, and they are improving a lot. Both of them are mature. They will not change all the base code from one release to the other, and that is good for us. But also, they are keeping it updated and keeping it going nice. And that's really good. And the most important thing also is that it works in all the platforms, in all the operating systems and architecture that we are targeting with Faro. Basically, in the last iteration, in this last year, we have been working a lot on the implementation of Bloc, improving it, and having a better SVG importer and exporter to have the ability to load and generate our elements, our objects from an SVG file. That gives a lot of power to let designers and interaction with people that are not Faro programmers. So it's nice. We can import from icons to complete bigger documents, and that works really nice. There has been a lot of effort in documentation, in documenting all the parts on how to use Bloc. We have been working in the rendering of text, improving the speed and how it looks like also. And there was a lot of improvement in shadows, polygon, round figure, and a lot of little details here and there. The most important thing that I want to always show on is that we are working a lot in the performance of Bloc, how it works. And also we are working a lot to have a nice CI integration. We are continue working in generating test, in generating regression test. That what we are doing is keeping images that we render or that we know that they are well rendered, and compare it and render it in the CI, in the continuous integration. So like that we can compare that we don't break anything, or we are not breaking how it renders, because basically you will imagine that testing something that renders, it requires to see what we are rendering, if they are the same image or not. Bloc now is stable and is ready to use. We are starting to use it a lot. We are going to push it more for different use cases. And now is available to be loaded directly from the menu in Faro 12 and Faro 13. It will load directly a version that is stable for this version of Faro. Maybe it's not the latest one, or it's not the development one, but it's the one that we have curated to be working with this version of Faro. And the current version of Bloc is compatible with Faro 11, 12, and 13. Then one last thing is that in the last few days, following our tradition of having a release for ESUG, we have released the version 2.0 or 2.0, and from the last version should not affect a lot the code that was already used in Bloc, because we are not changing the API. There were some little changes, but there were some deprecation cases, and that should be smoothly. Then the next element I want to talk, in this one we are going to go further because it's the kind of the star of the presentation, is Toplo. It's our new widget framework that is built up on top of Bloc. You can start seeing some snapshots, but let's enter a little more. Toplo is not a revolutionary. It's not a revolutionary concept. It has no new revolutionary concept. But the idea is to keep it simple and use all the concepts that are already present in Bloc, all the features that are already present there, that are really nice. It includes two main components or two main concepts that are included that are needed to build up widgets. One is the idea of having states that change when the interaction with the widgets, and the other is the idea of having skins. We are going to enter in them more deeply. We have now more than 18 widgets that are ready to use. They have a lot of tests, and they are nice to use. There is a lot of work. Alan Plantek, who is working heavily in the development of widgets, is working a lot to have new widgets and new elements. This is the result of the collaboration, as I said before, with Thales and the University of Bretagne Occidental. So we are really, really happy with this result. As I said, well, you can see the size of what is Toplo. There is some complexity on it. It will not be. I will not hide that. There are some parts that are complex, but they are really nice, and we are trying to keep it simple. The experience of Alan works a lot to help us to have a really simpler solution when it's possible, and well, when there is a complex problem, we have a complex solution. We cannot do much. One important thing that we are adding a lot, and Alan has worked a lot, is to add a test, and we want to have more tests and more validations of the classes. We have a core set of classes that provide the support for the widget, and then the widget itself. This is a little architecture overview. I am putting it just because to be in the slides. But the idea basically is that we are taking, as you can see in diagram, we are taking the element of Bloc, the BL element, and we are extending them basically with the idea of adding skins that are the way of handling how we are presenting the elements, and the states and the evolution of these states. As you can see, we are going to see some examples. The widget set is really nice. It looks really nice. It has a modern interface, not only visually but also in the usability of them. We have a lot of components, a lot of widgets that are already done that go from list and selectors and buttons and checkbox and simple things, but to more complex one like text editors, and in this case that are editing Faro code and with color highlighting, selections, and different kind of behaviors. Well, let's see some demos, so I talk less. We can see here this is a small demo of a really nice list that allows us to have multiple selection, but also it allows us to check it in different way. This is integrating the list with different components and allowing us to produce the widgets that are nowadays used in the applications that the users are requesting, because none of these widgets that you will see are revolutionary by themselves, but from where we are coming from, they are revolutionary. Yes. As you can see, you will see that all of them they look like applications that we can use in the phone or in the tablets or in the computer, but we want to have them in Faro and easily to use without needing to rewrite the wheel each time. We are having different, as you see, check buttons. We have radio buttons. We have different kind of selections. In this case, I am showing a lot of lists, but because they are the most interesting components, because they can handle a lot of different states. And we can have a lot of animations and transitions to help to give a better experience to the users. This set of widgets is based in ideas that are common in the community. They are based in undesign. It's a really rich set of components that has rules about the UI and the UX, how the components, how the widgets should look like to present the information, how they should combine colors, and how they animate to make it more clear to the user. Also, they are highly intended for applying themes and customization, so they have a really nice design that we can reuse in Toplo. One of the components that I say that we have in Toplo that is enriching Bloc is the skins. Basically, the skins are a tool to adapt the properties of the BL element, not only from the visual part, that will be if you want, the easy one, because we can handle the background, the border, the font, all the visual elements of a BL element, but also the layout, because we want to handle how they are aligned, if they are centered, if they are on top or bottom, if the image of a button is on top or is on bottom, or if it's on the left, on the right, and also the composition, if how they are composed, different elements. This adaptation occurs basically when we install a new skin. When we change one of the theme, or we change the scheme, we change from one to the other, and we move from one vision to the other, it has to update it. But also when we are interacting with the widgets and we are doing different changes on the state of the widgets. So every time we can modify one of the widgets, we can modify its how it looks and how it is composed, how it's constructed. So like that, we can give a better interaction for the user. These skins are driven by events. Basically, we can see the skin as an event handler that will react and reset the attributes that we want that change in that event. When we talk about the elements in a Toplo widget, we talk about three types of states. These states are created dynamically, so they can be enriched by the skin that we are using to have new events, new interactions with the user. For example, we can have skins that add an event when we are doing certain operations to have animation. For example, we can have a simple skin that does not do nothing when we do a hover on a button, but we can have another one that when we are doing a hover will do an animation or will move or show the button in different way. That can help, for example, to have an skin that allows us to have buttons in a environment where we need high contrast, for example. In another, we will not use that. Basically, when we are generating an event that is grabbed by Bloc, this event will be handled by the event handler and will create a new event that in this case, how is one of the events that we are doing a mouse click. It will generate an event, and all these events are pushed in an event queue. Why is this pushed in an event queue? Why we have this abstraction? Because we are extending Bloc events, and we have to guarantee that events are handled in the correct rendering stage. We cannot do all the changes in any moment. So to avoid this problem, to avoid the user, the maintainer of the skin, to handle this problem, we are having the event queue. Another alternative to define a style sheet that is still in development, it has advanced development, but it still requires more, is the idea to have a declarative skins where we can describe what are the attributes that are modified in different situations, in different events. This looks like a lot like CSS, and it has a lot of the good ideas of this technology. And basically, we are having the same construction. We can have different rules that are applying on different events or different situations. Then we will have, each rule will have a set of properties that will give some values. Once we have Toplo and we have a set of widgets, the next natural evolution was to say, okay, let's use them. One of the approach that we want to have is to use Spec and Toplo at the same time. You already know Spec because we are presenting it every conference since a long time, and it's our way of expressing UI, expressing the presenter, creating windows and interactions with the user in a way that we can provide with different backends. In this one, we are rendering our same window, as you can see on the left, with the widget in Morphic or with the widget in Toplo. We can see a little example. In this one, we have a little application that is using, it's a to-do list. It is using it's writing 100% in Spec, and it can use all the components in Toplo. And this is 100% transparent to the user that has directly created the Spec presenters, and as they are created it when using Morphic. This, as I said, it works as a new backend for Spec. It's transparent for the users. And we are supporting, the idea is to support the 100% of the presenters that we have in Spec. As we know, Spec has some features that are depending on the backend that we are having, so we are also going to expose all the features that are present in Toplo. But well, maybe it will not be portable when you want to use the same application in Morphic, Toplo, or any other backend. We have an initial version that is the 0.10. there is a lot of presenters and widgets that are already adapted to be working. But still we are in development because we need to fulfill the whole list of widgets that we have. So basically the application stack that we are proposing is something like this, where we can write our application, the general part of the application that we can describe in Spec, and then on top of Toplo, we can use Spec Toplo to use profit all the widgets that Toplo gives us. And of course, as in any stack, we can go as deeper as we want when we need to have a more control or a deeper or something that is not clear implemented. For the future, what we are working a lot is having a faster and more stable block. That is our main objective because it's the thing on top that we are working everything else. There is in the roadmap more widgets for Toplo, especially tables and trees. We want to have a full implementation of Spec Toplo by the end of the year, of the calendar year. And then we are working as usual. This is always present, test and documentation. One thing that got out of this presentation, but I don't want to miss talking about, is that we are working a lot on porting Rosal to render on top of Bloc. Why? Because Rosal is not a sister library, if you want, to Toplo, because it allows us to do visualization and express things that we cannot. It's not for a set of widgets. So we want to have all them living and profiting of the same improvements in Bloc. There is a working version. Most of the examples are working. Still, it's not stable enough, so we are not releasing it. But that is one of the ideas. Because if you are interested, as you are a heavy user of Rosal and you are interested and you want to collaborate, we are always open to collaborations because it's part of the future. We are not letting it aside. So thank you so much. All the communication of the Bloc Toplo, Spec Toplo, and Rosal itself we are doing it through the Open Bloc mailing list, but also in the Discord server of Faro in the Bloc channel. And of course, you can go and check the version that you can load from Faro right now. And well, we are really wanting to have your recommendations, your issue reports, or your bugs, and why not the results of using them and showing us nice things. Well, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Pablo. About the idea of using the good ideas of CSS for theming, what are you doing to avoid the bad ones? Like, because when you go into CSS and try to change stuff, there is a lot of, at least in the CSS, in the classical one.
Yes.
And the one in the web is a lot of non-locality and confusion. How do you avoid that?
The idea basically, well, we have this idea of having rules and applying selectors and applying properties when these selectors match. Then the idea, the good things will be easier to implement or easier to avoid the bad things in the way that we are proposing of not having directly importing CSS from the file, but converting it or handling it like code that we can handle. Also, there will be things that, as you say, will not be so nice. So if we work with the CSS approach, but also that is a decision to have it's easier to integrate with graphic designers, graphic collaboration. So it's a trade-off. Yes, I don't have a specific answer how we are going to avoid that, because that maybe you should write it in the Discord to Alan, that he can tell you more what he has in mind to avoid these problems. But the idea is to have a way that allows us to, it's like the SVG importer. If we are developing the things ourselves, we are not going to start from an I don't know, we are not going to do it with Inkscape and just importing it, but we can import it and then improving it and making it work better and making it nicer with us. But that gives us an entry point that helps a lot.
Will it include something like skinning and adapting to the operating system environment where you live on? For example, that you can switch to a Mac or Linux or Windows style, so that to increase the integration and to reduce impedance mismatch between all the other applications on your computer and Toplo applications?
I will say that maybe next presentation will make you more close at the objective that you are asking for. The real objective for Toplo is to have a widget set that allows us to make things more than just the widget set provided by the operating system. Of course, the skinning supports that you can produce your skin and make it look like exactly as you are intended. It's not the objective. I think it's not the objective now to have a skin like that. But it can be contributed and included to have the buttons that look like exactly like Cocoa buttons or like Windows or WinForm or whatever. For us, it's not the objective is to have a framework that allows us to build applications that are not directly desktop applications. That's why I say they will be easier with the next talk. After the next talk, the other approach that we are suggesting. For example, Toplo and Bloc is ideal for implementing UI for things that does not exist or we have to think about them, like what Domenico was presenting today is a good example. Things that we are not going to find in a usual widget set.
Yeah, but a good thing if it would also be possible to do normal desktop applications.
Yes,
a few things and it will differ, but to be general, it should be able to do new fancy things and also ones with integrate.
Yes, you will be able to, or you are able actually now to have a skin that produce the same result that we don't have it now, and the reason that we don't have it is because now we don't think is useful in this moment of the development that we have.
Can you say more about the use text model and rendering?
The text model. Yes, we are using the rope text model that was already present in Bloc, and we are using that. And we have not found issues with large text. Alan has done before deciding to continue with that model. He has done a lot of benchmark, a lot of try with really large files and really large models, and it performs well. It performs well for cutting the lines and detecting the things that are needed for a text editor, but also in the editing and handling. We have not found bigger problems, so we are using the model that was already developed, I think, by the original contribution of Fenk. Okay, thank you so much.